You wake up each morning surrounded by noise. The alarm blares in your ears, the phone constantly buzzes with notifications, and the world demands your attention. How often do you stop and ask yourself, am I prioritizing my own peace? Too often we are swept away by the chaos, losing ourselves in the noise. We live in a world where distractions are constant, expectations are high, and silence feels like a luxury we can't afford. But what if I told you that true strength lies in silence and the ability to prioritize yourself in the midst of this madness? Think about it. When was the last time you sat in silence just to listen to your thoughts? It seems like an alien concept, doesn't it? Silence is often viewed as uncomfortable, as if we're missing out on something essential. But the truth is, it is in the quiet moments that we discover who we really are. We are taught to multitask, to be constantly on the go, but this only drains our energy and clouds our clarity. We end up overwhelmed, unsure, and exhausted. Isn't it time we reclaimed our inner peace? In today's world, the need for instant gratification and the rush to meet everyone else's demands often overrides our need for self-care. Think about it. How many times do you let others' needs come before your own? It's so easy to become caught up in the web of expectations, whether it's from your job, family, or even social media. But at what cost? We give away pieces of ourselves, never stopping to consider if we are nurturing our own well-being. We forget that to show up for others, we must first show up for ourselves. We have all heard the phrase, you can't pour from an empty cup, yet how often do we ignore it? We run ourselves ragged trying to meet every obligation, trying to be everything to everyone, and in the process we lose ourselves. Prioritizing yourself doesn't mean being selfish. It means acknowledging that you are the foundation of your own happiness and success. Without silence and solitude, without time to rejuvenate, we cannot be the best versions of ourselves. This isn't about neglecting others, it's about giving yourself the permission to rest, to recharge, to realign your focus. Let's take a moment to consider how silence impacts our psychological health. The constant noise around us creates a kind of mental clutter, doesn't it? It's like trying to think clearly in the middle of a crowded room. The brain never gets the time it needs to relax and process its thoughts. Research shows that prolonged exposure to stress and noise can lead to mental burnout, anxiety, and even depression. So why do we keep pushing ourselves? Why do we keep ignoring the power of quiet moments? Because we don't truly understand its value. Silence is not the absence of sound, it's the presence of peace. Psychologically, embracing silence allows our minds to reset, to breathe, to grow. It's like hitting the pause button on a video game. In these moments of stillness, we reconnect with our thoughts, our emotions, and our true desires. The more time we spend in silence, the more we start to hear our inner voice. This is where clarity is born, and this clarity is what will lead us to make better choices in our lives. So why are we afraid of being alone with our thoughts? What is so frightening about hearing our own minds speak? When you prioritize yourself and embrace silence, you tap into a power that is not available when you are constantly in motion. Silence is not empty. It's full of answers, full of potential. It's when you step away from the noise that you can hear the whisper of your own soul. We've been conditioned to believe that productivity means constantly being busy. But the truth is that true productivity comes from mindful action, not frantic doing. It's in the silence where creativity flows, where ideas form, and where you discover your true purpose. Imagine the peace you could experience by allowing yourself to pause, breathe, and prioritize your mental health. Your mind is a powerful tool, and just like any tool, it needs rest. The brain needs time to process, to analyze, to reflect. But when we refuse to give it the silence it craves, we become mentally fatigued, unable to make sound decisions. How many times have you found yourself overwhelmed, unable to think clearly because you're constantly bombarded with information? It's time to take back control, to step into the silence, and embrace the clarity that comes with it. This is where your journey begins, not in the chaos but in the quiet moments where you rediscover your strength. It is only when we embrace silence that we can tune into our own rhythm, our own needs. Your mind and body are trying to tell you something. They need time to heal, to recharge. You don't need to be constantly doing to prove your worth. In fact, the most powerful thing you can do is to simply stop, breathe, and prioritize yourself. So why wait? Why keep sacrificing your peace for the demands of the world? You deserve more than just surviving, you deserve to thrive. Prioritize yourself and embrace silence today. The world will keep spinning, the noise will keep coming, but you don't have to let it control you. You have the power to create your own space, to live in harmony with yourself. It's time to take that first step toward peace, toward clarity, and toward a life where you come first. As you move forward in this journey, one thing becomes clear. Silence is not a luxury but a necessity. It's a sacred space where you can find solace and reconnect with your purpose. In a world that demands constant engagement, the idea of stepping back can seem daunting. Yet it is precisely in those moments of solitude where true self-discovery happens. You will learn more about who you are, what you want, and how to navigate life with clarity and focus. The world will not stop spinning if you take a pause. In fact, you'll come back stronger, more centered, and more aligned with your authentic self. Imagine being able to step away from all the noise, to completely disconnect from the chaos for just a moment. What would that feel like? To allow yourself to simply exist without expectation, without pressure, without the weight of others' demands hanging over your head. The benefits of embracing silence go beyond just mental clarity. Studies show that people who practice regular moments of solitude experience lower levels of stress, greater emotional stability, and higher levels of overall happiness. So why aren't we all carving out that space for ourselves? But here's the catch. Silence isn't about escaping reality. It's about facing it head-on, but from a place of strength. When we are surrounded by constant noise and distractions, it's easy to avoid our true feelings, our anxieties, and our fears. Silence, however, gives us the opportunity to confront them directly. It allows us to process emotions that we might have pushed aside and ultimately to heal. Have you ever taken a moment to sit with your emotions without the distractions of the outside world? If you haven't, I encourage you to try. You'll be amazed at the clarity that comes when you stop running from what you're truly feeling. In the stillness, we come face to face with our vulnerabilities. We may realize that we've been avoiding uncomfortable truths about ourselves. But here's the beauty of it. This confrontation isn't something to fear. It's the key to unlocking your true potential. The more time you spend in silence, the more you begin to understand your needs, your desires, and your values. It's in those quiet moments that you begin to shed the layers of external influence and get closer to the essence of who you really are. The power of this self-awareness cannot be overstated. But let's also talk about the immense power that comes with being able to say no to the noise. Have you ever said yes to something just because you didn't want to disappoint someone, even though you knew it wasn't in your best interest? That feeling of overwhelm, of resentment, it's a signal that your boundaries have been crossed. Embracing silence means learning to set those boundaries and prioritize your own peace over others' expectations. It means understanding that your time, your energy, and your mental well-being are precious. Saying no isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength, of self-respect, and of knowing your own worth. We live in a society that constantly pushes us to do more, achieve more, and be more. But in the process, we often forget that our value isn't measured by our productivity. Silence allows us to redefine success on our own terms. It isn't about meeting external expectations. It's about fulfilling our own desires and living in alignment with our own truth. By prioritizing ourselves, by taking the time to reconnect with our inner selves, we begin to understand that success is a deeply personal journey, not a race to the finish line. The idea of embracing silence can feel intimidating, especially when we've become so accustomed to being constantly busy. But silence doesn't mean doing nothing. It's about being present with yourself, about giving yourself permission to simply be. In a world full of distractions, this might seem like an impossible task, but the rewards are immeasurable. Imagine waking up every day feeling grounded, calm, and in control of your own narrative. That's what silence can offer you. Peace, clarity, and a deeper connection with yourself. Think about the last time you were truly still. It could have been during a quiet walk in nature, a peaceful evening at home, or a moment of reflection after a long day. How did that make you feel? It's these moments of quiet that offer you a chance to reset, to breathe, to allow yourself the space to think and to feel. It's a reminder that you don't need to be constantly doing in order to be worthy. You are enough just as you are. And silence helps you to rediscover that truth. There's something incredibly powerful about learning to embrace the silence in our lives. It's a practice that allows us to break free from the noise, to reclaim our power, and to tap into the deep well of inner wisdom we all possess. Imagine what you could accomplish if you allowed yourself the time and space to simply listen to your own heart, to follow your own intuition, and to make decisions from a place of clarity instead of chaos. This is the transformative power of silence. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity for living a life of purpose and fulfillment. Now let's consider the long-term impact of prioritizing yourself and embracing silence. When you make a habit of taking time for yourself, of regularly disconnecting from the noise, you start to see a shift in your life. Your relationships improve, your work becomes more meaningful, and your overall well-being thrive. You no longer feel like you're just surviving. You feel like you're truly living. And this, my friends, is what happens when you make the decision to put yourself first, to embrace the stillness, and to give yourself the gift of silence. Let's face it, life isn't getting any quieter. We are constantly surrounded by distractions. The constant pings from our phones, the demands of work, the expectations of others. It's easy to feel like we are being pulled in 1,000 different directions, but what if just for a moment you allowed yourself to take a step back from all of that? What if you allowed yourself to just be, to embrace the silence and to prioritize your own mental and emotional well-being? The truth is, silence isn't a void, it's a source of great power. In silence, you have the opportunity to hear your own voice again, to tune into your thoughts and emotions, and to recalibrate your life. How often do we get caught in the cycle of doing? The constant pursuit of achievement, the pressure to constantly be productive. It's overwhelming, isn't it? But here's a truth we rarely hear. Productivity isn't measured by how busy you are. It's not about how much you can cram into your day or how many tasks you can check off your to-do list. True productivity comes from the clarity that silence provides. It's in those moments of stillness that you can truly evaluate what matters most to you. You can focus on what aligns with your values, and you can make intentional choices that propel you toward the life you've always wanted. When you embrace silence, you begin to recognize just how much of your life is filled with external noise. The pressure to meet others' expectations, the endless need to stay connected, the unrelenting demands from work and family. It all creates a mental fog that clouds your judgment and erodes your peace, but silence offers you a different kind of clarity. It allows you to disconnect from the constant flow of information and reconnect with yourself. It's a space where you can process your thoughts, identify your true desires, and decide how you want to move forward in your life. It's in this space that you find the strength to let go of what no longer serves you. Yet embracing silence doesn't mean you're isolating yourself or avoiding life. Far from it. Silence is a powerful tool for self-discovery and self-care. It's about creating the time and space to nourish your soul, to check in with your emotions, and to reflect on your personal growth. Silence gives you the opportunity to truly listen to your body, to understand your needs, and to acknowledge your feelings. So often we push these things aside in the name of productivity or to meet external expectations. But when we make silence a priority, we give ourselves the chance to address our needs before they become overwhelming. It's fascinating how much power lies in simple silence. We often view silence as something that needs to be filled or avoided, something uncomfortable. But in reality, silence is the gateway to greater awareness. It's in the quiet moments when you can listen to your inner thoughts, your deepest desires, and your true self. You can hear the things that were drowned out by the noise of your daily life. In the absence of distractions, you begin to notice what truly matters, what is worth your time and energy. Silence doesn't just offer peace, it offers profound insight into who you are and what you need to thrive. Many of us are afraid of silence because we fear what we might discover about ourselves. It's easier to stay busy than to face uncomfortable truths. But here's the thing, silence doesn't force anything on you, it simply provides the space for whatever needs to emerge. It's in the stillness that we confront our fears, process our emotions, and heal from past wounds. If you're willing to sit with yourself in silence, you'll begin to see patterns in your thoughts and behavior that you may have missed in the noise. And that's where the real transformation happens. By understanding yourself more deeply, you open the door to living a more authentic and fulfilling life. Embracing silence is a radical act of self-love. It's choosing to prioritize your own needs over the demands of the outside world. In doing so, you reclaim control of your life. You begin to make decisions not based on external pressures but from a place of inner wisdom. You start to set boundaries that protect your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. And most importantly, you stop apologizing for it. Prioritizing yourself doesn't make you selfish. It makes you strong. It makes you someone who recognizes the importance of self-care and knows that without it, you can't truly show up for others. Think of the difference between living in a constant state of chaos versus living with intention. In the chaos, we react to life, constantly responding to the demands placed on us. In silence, however, we take a step back and choose our response. We become proactive instead of reactive. We create space to decide how we want to engage with the world around us. We take the time to evaluate what truly deserves our attention and energy, and we align our actions with our core values. This is where true empowerment lies, knowing that you have the ability to shape your life from the inside out. Now you might be wondering, how do I begin this practice of prioritizing silence? How do I make space for it in a world that's constantly demanding more of me? The answer lies in making small, intentional changes to your daily routine. It doesn't require drastic measures. You can start by carving out just a few minutes each day to sit in stillness. No phone, no distractions. Just you, your thoughts, and your breath. It could be as simple as taking a walk in nature, meditating, or simply sitting in a quiet room with your eyes closed. The more you make silence a part of your life, the easier it becomes to prioritize it. The key is to be consistent. The more you practice sitting in silence, the more you'll discover its profound impact on your mental clarity, emotional well-being, and overall sense of peace. Over time, these moments of stillness will become an essential part of your daily routine, just like any other self-care practice. And before you know it, you'll find yourself living a life that is more intentional, more peaceful, and more aligned with who you truly are. As you continue on this path of prioritizing yourself and embracing silence, you may begin to notice a shift in your mindset. The noise that once felt overwhelming may start to lose its grip on you. The demands of others may feel less suffocating. You'll begin to realize that the more you embrace silence, the more you cultivate a sense of inner peace. This peace isn't the absence of external noise. It's the presence of internal harmony. And this peace, this clarity, becomes a solid foundation from which you can navigate the challenges of life. In today's fast-paced world, we often feel like we're constantly on the go. We are taught to equate busyness with productivity, and yet, how often do we pause to ask ourselves, is this truly productive? Is being constantly busy bringing me closer to my goals, my desires, my happiness? The truth is, the constant noise and rush can actually prevent us from being truly productive. We can easily become trapped in a cycle of doing for the sake of doing, without ever stopping to consider if what we're doing aligns with our true purpose. Silence gives us the clarity to evaluate our actions and determine whether they're serving our higher purpose or simply adding to the noise. Imagine how different your life would be if you could make decisions from a place of calm and clarity rather than from a place of stress and overwhelm. What if you could take a step back, breathe deeply, and make choices that reflect your values instead of reacting to external pressures? Embracing silence allows you to do just that. It gives you the space to slow down, reflect, and reconnect with your inner wisdom. When you make silence a priority, you start to see the world through a different lens, one that is clear, focused, and aligned with your true desires. In the silence, you also begin to recognize your own strength. You realize that you don't need to constantly seek validation from others, nor do you need to fill every moment with activity. In fact, silence teaches you that your worth isn't defined by how much you do or how much you give to others. It's defined by who you are, your values, your integrity, your authenticity. By embracing silence, you stop measuring your worth by external accomplishments and start valuing yourself for simply being present and true to yourself. Of course, there may be moments when embracing silence feels uncomfortable. The mind is used to the constant stream of thoughts, the distractions, the busyness. But remember, discomfort is often where growth happens. Silence challenges us to face our inner world, to confront the thoughts and feelings that we've been avoiding. But this is a necessary process if we want to grow, heal, and evolve. When you sit in silence, you give yourself the opportunity to process your emotions, heal old wounds, and let go of what no longer serves you. In this space, you can release the baggage that weighs you down and create room for new possibilities. One of the most powerful things about embracing silence is that it allows you to break free from the need for constant validation. We live in a world where likes, comments, and external approval often dictate our self-worth. But in silence, you can reconnect with your inner voice, the voice that knows who you truly are and what you truly need. This is the voice that doesn't need validation from anyone else. It's the voice that knows you are enough just as you are. Embracing silence allows you to tune out the external noise and listen to the wisdom that comes from within. And it's not just about emotional clarity. It's about mental clarity too. When your mind is constantly bombarded with information, it becomes harder to think clearly and make decisions. We become overwhelmed, unable to focus on what truly matters. Silence, however, provides a mental reset. It allows your brain to process information, to think critically, and to come up with creative solutions. In a world that rewards quick thinking and instant responses, silence offers the space to think deeply and strategically. It's in the silence that innovation happens, where ideas take shape and new perspectives emerge. Silence also brings a deep sense of calm that can positively affect your physical health. Chronic stress and noise can take a toll on the body, leading to fatigue, anxiety, and even physical ailments. When we embrace silence, we give our bodies the opportunity to rest and recharge. It's like pressing a reset button for our entire system. The benefits of this go beyond just mental health. They extend to physical health as well. By making silence a priority, you're giving your body the chance to heal, recover, and find balance. And this balance is essential for living a long, healthy, and fulfilling life. Think of the silence as a sanctuary, a refuge from the chaos of everyday life. It's a place where you can recharge, where you can reflect, and where you can reconnect with your purpose. In the silence, you don't have to be anything for anyone. You don't have to meet anyone's expectations, fulfill anyone's demands, or prove your worth. You simply exist, and in doing so, you reclaim your personal power. The more time you spend in silence, the more you'll realize that your power isn't in your busyness or your achievements. It's in your ability to be still, to listen, and to make choices that reflect your true self. The beauty of silence is that it's available to you at any time. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment or for everything to be in order. Silence is always there, waiting for you to step into it. It's in the pauses between conversations, the quiet moments before you go to sleep, or the stillness of early morning before the world wakes up. These moments, though seemingly small, hold immense power. By carving out these moments of silence throughout your day, you begin to build a foundation of peace, clarity, and inner strength that will carry you through the challenges of life. As you deepen your practice of prioritizing silence, you will start to notice how your perception of the world around you begins to shift. You might find that things that once felt urgent or overwhelming no longer hold the same weight. The constant pressure to do more, to be more, begins to fade. Silence allows you to tap into a deeper sense of calm and clarity, where you can step back and assess what really matters. You start to see that life isn't about how much you accomplish or how busy you are. It's about how aligned you are with your true purpose, how at peace you are with yourself, and how you choose to engage with the world around you. In a society that thrives on constant productivity and external validation, choosing silence can feel like an act of rebellion. But here's the truth. Embracing silence is not a retreat from life, it's a return to life. It's a return to your own sense of being, to your inner peace, and to your ability to choose your path instead of being swept along by the demands of others. Silence doesn't isolate you from the world. It empowers you to engage with it more fully, more authentically, and more intentionally. When you prioritize silence, you give yourself the space to cultivate presence. Presence is the ability to fully engage in the moment, to be aware of your thoughts, feelings, and experiences without judgment. It's in this presence that you find true peace, because you stop chasing the next thing and start embracing what is already here. You stop living in a state of constant longing or anticipation, and instead you find joy and fulfillment in the present moment. Silence helps you to be present with yourself and with others, fostering deeper connections and more meaningful relationships. But let's be honest for a moment, being present isn't always easy. Our minds are constantly racing, and we are often bombarded with distractions that make it hard to stay focused. That's where the power of silence comes in. By intentionally creating space for silence in your life, you give yourself the gift of stillness that allows you to tune out the noise and tune into what truly matters. In this stillness, you can release the constant mental chatter, quiet your inner critic, and find peace within yourself. One of the most transformative aspects of embracing silence is the ability to listen to your own thoughts, to your body, and to the world around you. In a world that rewards constant talking and doing, silence teaches us the value of listening. When you embrace silence, you begin to hear things you've never heard before. The subtle whispers of your own intuition, the gentle voice of your soul, and the quiet wisdom of your own experience. These insights, these truths come to you in the stillness, and they are the keys to living a life that is truly aligned with who you are. Moreover, silence is not just about listening to yourself, it's about creating space for creativity to emerge. In the absence of constant input from the outside world, your mind is free to wander, to daydream, and to explore new ideas. Some of the most innovative breakthroughs, the most creative ideas come in moments of silence. When you allow yourself the time to be still, you tap into a deeper level of creativity, one that isn't influenced by external noise or pressure. It's in this silence that new possibilities emerge and you begin to see the world through fresh eyes. However, embracing silence doesn't mean shutting yourself off from the world entirely. It's about finding balance. While silence is an essential practice for self-care, it's equally important to remain open to others and to the world around you. Embracing silence is about creating space for introspection and self-reflection, but it doesn't require you to disconnect from the people you care about. In fact, when you prioritize silence and reconnect with yourself, you become more present, more available, and more connected to others. You start to show up for the people in your life in a way that is grounded, authentic, and full of love. Another aspect of silence that often goes unnoticed is its ability to help us process emotion. We are constantly moving, doing, and engaging with the world around us, but we often don't take the time to process our emotions fully. In silence, we give ourselves the space to feel, to acknowledge, and to release our emotions without judgment. This emotional processing is crucial for our mental and emotional well-being, as it helps us to heal from past wounds and move forward with greater emotional resilience. Silence also provides the opportunity to reconnect with our values, our passions, and our sense of purpose. Silence helps us to return to the core of who we are and what we stand for. It reminds us of our purpose, our strengths, and the things that bring us joy. It's a space where we can realign with our values and set intentions that are in harmony with our authentic selves. As you continue to embrace silence, you may find that the external world starts to feel less overwhelming. The constant demands of work, family, and society may no longer hold the same power over you. You will begin to feel more grounded and more in control of your life. The act of prioritizing yourself and carving out time for silence is a powerful form of self-care. It's a way of protecting your mental and emotional health, of creating the space you need to heal, to grow, and to thrive. You will also notice how much easier it becomes to make decisions when you embrace silence. In the past, decisions may have been clouded by external pressures or rushed reactions. But when you make silence a priority, you give yourself the time to reflect, to weigh your options, and to choose from a place of clarity. You stop reacting and start responding, making decisions that are aligned with your deepest values and desires. This is the true power of silence. It helps you reclaim your agency and your ability to create the life you want to live. In the quiet moments of silence, something remarkable happens. You begin to recognize the true strength within you. It's easy to overlook your own power when you're constantly running on autopilot, reacting to external demands and living on the treadmill of constant activity. But when you embrace silence, you reconnect with your inner self, and you rediscover a wellspring of wisdom and strength that has always been there, just waiting to be tapped into. It's in the silence that you realize you have the power to choose your responses, to shape your reality, and to control your own destiny. Silence also teaches you patience. In a world that thrives on instant gratification, silence provides a much-needed antidote to the relentless rush. It encourages you to slow down, to pause, and to let things unfold at their own pace. When you make silence a regular part of your life, you learn to trust the process. You realize that not everything has to happen right now, and that some things, the most meaningful things, take time. It's in this space of quiet patience that you start to appreciate the journey instead of constantly focusing on the destination. But let's be clear, embracing silence doesn't mean shutting out the world or ignoring your responsibility. It's not about isolating yourself from others or retreating from life's challenges. It's about creating the necessary space to recharge, reflect, and reconnect with your true self. In this space, you can be more present in your interactions, more mindful in your decisions, and more intentional in the way you live your life. Silence empowers you to step out of the constant noise and find clarity so that you can engage with the world from a place of calm and wisdom. One of the most profound benefits of embracing silence is the peace that it brings. True peace isn't the absence of noise or chaos, it's the presence of inner calm and balance. The more you prioritize silence, the more you cultivate this inner peace. And when you have peace within yourself, it becomes easier to navigate the external chaos of life. You become less reactive, more centered, and more capable of handling the stresses and challenges that come your way. Silence teaches you to stay grounded no matter how turbulent the world around you may seem. There's also something incredibly liberating about embracing silence. It's freeing to realize that you don't need to fill every moment with noise, conversation, or activity. You don't have to constantly entertain yourself or others. Silence teaches you that it's okay to simply be. It's okay to sit with your thoughts, to reflect, and to take time for yourself without feeling guilty. In a world that often tells us to be constantly busy and engaged, silence is an act of rebellion, a statement that you choose to prioritize your own well-being over external expectations. And this choice is incredibly powerful. As you continue to make silence a priority in your life, you may begin to notice a shift in how you approach your relationships with others. When you prioritize yourself and embrace silence, you stop seeking validation from others. You stop measuring your worth by external standards. This shift in mindset allows you to engage in relationships from a place of authenticity and self-assurance. You begin to interact with others not from a place of need or insecurity, but from a place of genuine connection and love. You learn that the best way to show up for others is by first showing up for yourself. In the silence, you also gain clarity about what you want in life. You begin to shed the layers of societal expectations and the pressures of others, and you reconnect with what truly matters to you. Silence allows you to tune into your own desires, to hear your inner voice clearly, and to make decisions that are aligned with your deepest values. No longer do you need to conform to what others expect. You realize that your happiness, your fulfillment, and your success are determined by you alone. And when you embrace this truth, you empower yourself to create the life you truly want. It's in the quiet moments that you also begin to heal. We all carry emotional wounds, some of which we may have ignored or suppressed over time. Silence provides the space for these wounds to surface, to be acknowledged, and to be healed. It's in the silence that you can process pain, release negative emotions, and let go of past hurts. By giving yourself permission to sit with these feelings, you create the conditions for emotional healing and growth. Silence becomes a refuge, a place where you can nurture your emotional well-being and emerge stronger and more resilient. As you continue on this journey of prioritizing yourself and embracing silence, you will find that the noise of the world becomes less and less impactful. You will no longer feel the need to compete, to compare, or to keep up with others. You will realize that your value is not determined by how much you do, but by who you are. You will learn to live more authentically, to make decisions based on your true self, and to engage with life in a way that is deeply fulfilling and meaningful. The more you embrace silence, the more you will discover the true power that lies within you. By choosing silence, you also embrace the opportunity to live with intention. Silence allows you to reflect on your goals, to assess whether you are on the path that truly aligns with your desires, and to make the necessary adjustments. It's easy to get caught up in the rush of life and start moving without a clear direction. But silence offers you the space to step back, to evaluate where you are, and to set a course that is aligned with your true purpose. With this clarity, you can move forward with confidence, knowing that every step you take is intentional and purposeful. Finally, as you integrate more silence into your life, you will begin to notice that your overall sense of fulfillment grows. You'll feel more connected to yourself, to others, and to the world around you. You will begin to trust yourself more deeply and feel a greater sense of inner peace. Silence offers the gift of self-awareness, emotional healing, and personal empowerment. It allows you to step into your true power, to prioritize your needs, and to create a life that is authentic, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling.